My name is Ava, and this is the story of how I learned that trust can be a fragile thing, easily shattered by those you hold closest. I'm a 36-year-old financial analyst in Seattle, a city where the rain never seems to stop, but the dreams keep growing. I've always been the steady one, methodical, loyal, the woman who builds her life brick by brick. But when my world was torn apart by betrayal, I discovered a fire within me, one that fueled a revenge so precise it left my betrayer reeling. This is my story, told in my own words, of heartbreak, resilience, and a justice that felt like poetry. Seattle suits me. The gray skies, the hum of Pike Place Market, the way the Space Needle pierces the clouds. It's a city that feels both grounded and ambitious, just like me. I've spent 12 years at a mid-sized investment firm, analyzing markets and guiding clients through the chaos of stocks and bonds. My office, perched on the 15th floor, overlooks Puget Sound, where ferries glide like promises across the water. I love my work, not just for the numbers but for the trust I build with clients, helping them secure their futures. My personal life was just as steady, anchored by my fiancé, Nathan. We met 5 years ago at a charity gala, his easy smile cutting through the room's stuffiness. Nathan was a real estate agent, charismatic and driven, with a knack for closing deals and making people feel like they'd won the lottery. We were a perfect balance, my quiet determination paired with his bold energy. We moved in together 2 years ago, into a cozy condo in Capitol Hill, where we'd spend evenings cooking pasta and planning our future. A spring wedding, a house with a garden, maybe a dog. I trusted him completely, sharing every corner of my life, my dreams, my fears, even my bank account. Our finances were merged, a decision that felt natural at the time. I handled the budgeting, my analyst's mind keeping our savings on track. Nathan was less disciplined, prone to splurging on fancy dinners or last-minute weekend trips. But I loved his spontaneity. We had a joint account for shared expenses and our wedding fund, which I'd been diligently growing. It was at $45,000, a nest egg for our new life. I thought we were building something unbreakable. It was a rainy Tuesday in March when the first crack appeared. I was at work, reviewing a client's portfolio, when I got a notification from our bank, a withdrawal of $10,000 from our joint account. My stomach twisted. I hadn't authorized it, and Nathan hadn't mentioned anything. I called him, but it went to voicemail. A quick text, "Hey, did you pull money from the joint account?" went unanswered. I logged into our banking app, my fingers trembling. The transaction was listed as a transfer to an unfamiliar account. I dug deeper, pulling up the account's history. Over the past month, there were smaller withdrawals, $2,000 here, $3,500 there, all to the same account. The total was nearly $20,000, almost half our savings, gone without a word. My heart pounded as I called the bank, only to learn the transfers were initiated from Nathan's login. He'd been siphoning our money, and I had no idea why. That evening, I waited in our condo, the Seattle skyline glowing through the rain-streaked windows. Nathan came home late, his jacket damp, his smile forced. "Hey, babe," he said, kissing my forehead. "Long day." "Nathan, we need to talk," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. I showed him the bank statements, the transfers circled in red. "What's going on? Where's our money?" His face shifted, surprise. Then defensiveness. "It's not a big deal, Ava," he said, running a hand through his hair. "I needed some cash for a business deal. A property investment. It's going to pay off big, I promise." "You took $20,000 without telling me," I said, my voice rising. "That's our wedding fund, Nathan. Our future." He sighed, as if I were overreacting. "I was going to tell you once it was finalized. You're always so cautious, Ava. I didn't want you to freak out." I stared at him, the man I thought I knew, and felt a chill. "Show me the deal," I demanded. "Contracts, paperwork, anything." He hesitated, then muttered something about it being in progress. The more I pressed, the vaguer he got, until he snapped, "Just trust me, okay? I'm doing this for us." But I didn't trust him. Not anymore. That night, I couldn't sleep, the rain tapping against the windows like a warning. I started digging. The next day, I took a personal day and turned into a detective. I checked Nathan's email, something I'd never done before. Using the password he'd once shared for a shared Netflix account. What I found made my blood run cold. There were emails from a woman named Lauren, a real estate agent he'd worked with. The messages were flirty at first, then intimate, pet names, plans for weekend getaways, even a mention of our new place. My hands shook as I read one email from Lauren, the deposits cleared. Can't wait to start our life in Portland. Portland. Nathan had been talking about expanding his business there. But he'd never mentioned moving. I cross-referenced the dates. The transfers from our account matched the timeline of their emails. He was using our savings, my savings, to fund a new life with her, but the worst was yet to come. I found a real estate listing in Nathan's sent folder, forwarded to Lauren. It was for a condo in Portland, purchased with a $20,000 down payment. The buyer's name? Nathan's. He'd taken our wedding fund to buy a home for another woman, leaving me to plan a wedding that would never happen. I sat on our couch, the Seattle rain blurring the world outside, and cried. Not just for the money, but for the trust I'd given him, the years I'd invested, the future I'd imagined. Nathan had betrayed me in every way, financially, emotionally, romantically. I felt like a fool, my heart a wreckage of anger and grief. When he came home, I confronted him. Who's Lauren? I asked, holding up my phone with the emails. His face went white. Ava, it's not what you think, stop lying, I said. My voice cold. You're moving to Portland with her. You stole our savings for your new life. He tried to deflect, blaming stress, claiming he didn't mean to hurt me. But the truth was clear. I was going to tell you, he finally admitted, his voice low. I've been unhappy, Ava. Lauren, she gets me. I'm sorry. Sorry? I laughed, bitter and sharp. You're not sorry. You're just sorry you got caught. I kicked him out that night, his belongings stuffed into a suitcase. As he left, he had the nerve to say, "You'll be fine, Ava. You always are." It was a taunt, a dismissal of my pain. I slammed the door, but his words echoed. He thought he could walk away, start over, while I picked up the pieces. He was wrong. The weeks that followed were a fog of heartbreak. I moved through my days like a ghost, analyzing spreadsheets at work while my mind replayed Nathan's betrayal. My condo, once a haven, felt like a museum of our failed love, his coffee mug still in the cabinet, his scent lingering in the pillows. I threw out everything that reminded me of him, but the anger stayed. I could have sued him for the money, but legal battles were messy and slow. I wanted something better, justice that would sting, that would make Nathan feel the weight of what he'd done. I wanted him to lose what he valued most, his reputation, his charm, his ability to glide through life unscathed. I started by gathering evidence. I saved every email, every bank statement, every proof of his deceit. I contacted our bank, freezing what remained of our joint account to prevent further withdrawals. Then I dug into Nathan's world. He was a real estate agent, his success built on trust and connections. If I could expose him not just to Lauren but to his entire professional network, I could unravel his new life before it began. I learned that Nathan and Lauren were planning to launch a real estate partnership in Portland, branding themselves as a dynamic duo for luxury properties. They'd already secured a few high-profile clients. Leveraging Nathan's Seattle contacts, their website was live, complete with glossy headshots and a tagline, "Trust us to find your dream home." The irony made me gag, but I noticed something else. Nathan had been sloppy. The Portland condo's purchase agreement listed him as the sole buyer, but the funds came from our joint account, which was primarily my earnings. Legally, I had a claim to that property. I also found that Nathan had misrepresented his credentials on their website, claiming certifications he didn't have. It was a small lie, but in the cutthroat world of real estate, credibility was everything. This was my opening. I wouldn't just take back what was mine, I'd make sure Nathan's betrayal became his undoing. My plan was a tapestry of strategy and subtlety, designed to hit Nathan where it hurt without leaving my fingerprints. I started with the condo. I hired a lawyer, a sharp woman named Rachel, who confirmed that I could file a claim against the property since my money had funded it. But instead of going to court, I proposed a different approach. I asked Rachel to draft a letter to Lauren, posing as a concerned third party who'd discovered the condo's questionable funding. The letter hinted that Nathan had used disputed funds and that legal action was pending, which could tie up the property for years. I sent the letter anonymously, using a burner email. I knew Lauren, with her ambitious streak, wouldn't take kindly to being dragged into Nathan's mess. Sure enough, I later learned through a mutual contact that she'd confronted him, demanding answers. Their relationship started to crack, but I wasn't done. Next, I targeted Nathan's professional reputation. I created an anonymous account on a real estate forum popular in the Pacific Northwest. Posing as a concerned client, I posted about Nathan's inflated credentials, attaching screenshots of his website alongside public records showing he lacked the certifications he claimed. I was careful, sticking to facts, avoiding anything that could be traced back to me. The post gained traction, with other agents chiming in about Nathan's shady practices. His name started to circulate as a cautionary tale. But the centerpiece of my revenge was an event I knew Nathan couldn't resist, the Northwest Real Estate Expo, a glitzy annual conference in Portland. He and Lauren were scheduled to present their new partnership, a high-stakes opportunity to woo clients and investors. I decided to turn their moment in the spotlight into a reckoning. I reached out to a former colleague, Maya, who now worked in event planning and owed me a favor. I asked her to help me get access to the expo's presentation system, framing it as a surprise for a friend. Maya, unaware of my true intentions, agreed. I created a short video, a montage of Nathan's lies, screenshots of his false credentials, the condo purchase agreement, and anonymized bank statements showing the transfers from our account. The video ended with a simple question in bold text: "Can you trust Nathan Carter with your dream home?" I gave Maya the file, instructing her to play it during Nathan's presentation, claiming it was a client testimonial. I also tipped off a real estate blogger, someone known for exposing industry scandals, about the video. I wanted the fallout to spread fast. The expo was held at a sleek convention center in downtown Portland, all glass and steel against the city's misty skyline. I attended, blending into the crowd in a tailored blazer, my heart racing with anticipation. Nathan and Lauren took the stage, all smiles, pitching their partnership to a room of investors and agents. Nathan's charm was in full force. His voice smooth as he promised unparalleled trust and expertise. Then the screen behind them flickered. My video started playing. The room went silent as Nathan's lies were laid bare, his fake credentials, the stolen funds, the condo scandal. Gasps rippled through the audience. Nathan froze, his face draining of color. Lauren's smile vanished, her eyes darting to him in fury. The blogger I'd tipped off was live tweeting, and by the time the video ended, the room was buzzing with whispers. Nathan stammered, trying to salvage the moment, but the damage was done. Investors walked out, agents shook their heads, and Lauren stormed off stage. I slipped out quietly, my heart pounding with a strange mix of triumph and relief. I'd done it. Nathan's reputation was in ruins, his partnership with Lauren shattered, and the condo was now under legal scrutiny, tying up his finances. In the weeks that followed, Nathan's world collapsed. Lauren ended their relationship, unwilling to be tied to his scandal. His Portland clients dropped him, and the real estate community blacklisted him. The condo was sold to settle my claim, with my lawyer ensuring I recovered every cent of my stolen savings. Nathan tried contacting me, leaving voicemails that ranged from apologetic to bitter, but I blocked him. He didn't deserve my time. I used the recovered money to start fresh. I moved to a new condo in Belltown, with floor-to-ceiling windows that framed Seattle's skyline like a painting. My career flourished, I landed a promotion. My reputation bolstered by my handling of a major client crisis that echoed the betrayal I'd overcome. I surrounded myself with new friends, people like Maya and Rachel, who valued loyalty and integrity. Emotionally, I was healing. The betrayal had left scars, but they reminded me of my strength. I learned to trust again, but with discernment, choosing people who earned it. Seattle's reign no longer felt like a burden, it was cleansing, a promise of renewal. The months after the expo were a time of rebuilding. Not just my life but my sense of self. I started journaling, a habit I'd abandoned in my 20s, filling pages with reflections on trust, betrayal, and the woman I was becoming. Each word felt like a step toward clarity, a way to process the pain and transform it into purpose. I wrote about the rain, how it mirrored my journey, relentless at times, but also life-giving, washing away the debris of Nathan's deceit. At work, I took on new challenges with a confidence I hadn't known I possessed. My promotion to senior analyst came with a team to manage, and I found joy in mentoring younger colleagues, sharing lessons I'd learned the hard way. I taught them about due diligence, not just in numbers but in relationships, emphasizing that trust must be earned, not assumed. My office became a space of collaboration, filled with plants I'd bought to brighten the gray Seattle days, a reminder that growth was possible even in tough conditions. Outside of work, I rediscovered Seattle's vibrancy. I joined a book club at the Elliott Bay Book Company, where I met a diverse group of women who became fast friends. We'd dissect novels over wine, laughing and debating, their perspectives broadening my own. One of them, Elena, a chef, invited me to cooking classes at a local community center, where I learned to make paella and found a new passion for creating something tangible. These connections, built on mutual respect, filled the void Nathan had left, proving that betrayal didn't have to define my future. I also started exploring Seattle's outdoor scene, something Nathan had never been keen on. I hiked in the Olympic National Forest, the mossy trails and crashing waves of the Pacific grounding me in a way the city couldn't. On one hike, I met a park ranger named Sam, whose quiet humor and love for the outdoors sparked a cautious friendship. We'd meet for coffee at Le Panier, swapping stories about our lives, and while I wasn't ready for romance, his presence reminded me that good people existed. That connection was still possible. Rachel, my lawyer, became more than a professional ally. We'd grab drinks at the Pink Door, her sharp wit cutting through my lingering doubts. She'd handled the condo claim with precision, ensuring Nathan couldn't wriggle out of accountability. Over cocktails, she shared her own stories of overcoming betrayal, her resilience inspiring me to keep moving forward. She introduced me to a women's networking group, where I spoke about financial empowerment, using my experience to help others protect their assets. The talks were cathartic, turning my pain into a tool for change. Maya, my event planning accomplice, remained a close confidant. We collaborated on a charity gala for a local women's shelter, raising funds and awareness. Planning the event was a whirlwind of logistics and laughter, her optimism infectious. She never asked about the expo video, respecting my silence, but her knowing smile said she suspected my role. Our friendship was a reminder that allies could make all the difference. That I didn't have to face the world alone. Seattle itself became a character in my redemption. I'd walk through Pike Place Market, the scent of fresh flowers and fish mingling with the sound of buskers, feeling like I belonged again. I'd sit by the waterfront, watching ferries cut through the mist, their steady paths a metaphor for my own. The city's rhythm, its coffee shops, its tech buzz, its quiet corners, mirrored my journey, stormy at times, but full of possibility. Nathan faded into irrelevance. I heard he'd moved to a smaller city, his real estate career stalled, his charm no longer enough to open doors. I didn't gloat, but I didn't mourn him either. He was a chapter closed, a lesson learned. My story wasn't about him anymore, it was about me. The moral of my journey isn't just about revenge, though that was a satisfying piece. It's about resilience, about recognizing your worth when someone tries to steal it. Betrayal can break you, but it can also forge you, sharpening your edges, teaching you to stand taller. Trust is a gift, but it's yours to give wisely. And when you reclaim your power, you don't just survive, you thrive. If you're reading this, know that your pain doesn't define you. You're stronger than the hands that tried to pull you down. Take your time, gather your strength, and rise. Seattle taught me that even in the rain, there's beauty, and in your reckoning, there's redemption.